The deep space listening post floated. Silence near a cold neutron star. Year 2147. The station belonged to the galactic Concordance, a large group of alien species that liked peace and trade. No fighting, no big risks, just listening. Watching, talking when safe. Inside the station, the air smelled like wet metal and methane. Soft blue lights glowed on smooth walls. Crew members moved slowly. Lyrans with thin, long bodies floated in low gravity. Their skin shimmered like oil on water. Vexari stood on crystal legs that clicked against the floor. Everyone spoke in low voices. No one liked loud noise here. Then the signal came. A weak radio pulse hit the big dish. Outside, the computers woke up fast. Red lights blinked and alarm sounded soft but clear. The message played on every screen and speaker. To any who hear, this is the refugee convoy Epsilon 9. We flee the devourer. Swarm engines failing. Life support. Critical coordinates attached. Help us, please. The words repeated again. Voice sounded tired, scared, broken. Everyone stopped moving. A Lyran named Zethkal swam to the main console. He was the commander, tall. Thin arms trembled a little. He played the message one more time. Coordinates appeared, a point deep in a dark sector near the edge of known space, a place few ships went. The swarm, one Vexari whispered. His crystal body made a low ringing sound. Like fear. Everyone knew the devourer swarm. Black machines, no eyes, no mercy. They came in clouds. They ate ships. They ate planets. They left nothing behind but dust and silence. Even strong species ran from them. The Concordance never fought the swarm. Too dangerous. Too many losses. Zethkal looked at his crew. How many ships in the convoy? At least 12 large transports, maybe more small ones. Over 400,000 souls, mostly civilians. Families. Children. Silence again. Can we help? Another crew member asked. Zethkal closed his large black eyes for a moment. Our station has no guns, no armor. Our fastest ship takes 12 days to reach them at full speed. The swarm will finish them long before that. He opened his eyes. We send the message wider. Open channels, neutral bands. Let everyone hear it. Ofsari tilted his head. Who will come? The Qatari. Their navy is far away. Zoreth. They fear the swarm more than we do. Zethkal did not answer right away. He pressed buttons. The SOS broadcast jumped out into the dark, stronger signal, clearer words. Anyone with a receiver would hear it now. Then he spoke quietly. Perhaps someone will surprise us. Far away, across many light years, the message traveled. On the human colony world called New Denver, morning came with red sunlight. The sky looked like fire. People walked on wide streets. Kids played in parks with thick grass. Gravity here felt heavy to visitors, but humans liked it. They grew strong under it. At the United Earth Navy base, a big briefing room smelled like coffee and metal. Officers sat in rows. Screens showed maps of nearby stars. Lieutenant Commander Daniel Hayes sat near the front. He had short brown hair and calm green eyes. He listened carefully. Captain Laura Bennett stood at the podium, tall woman, dark hair in a tight bun. She looked serious, always a comms officer raised his hand. Captain, incoming relay from Concordance. Channels, priority distress call. Laura nodded, play it. The room lights dimmed, the alien. Message filled the speakers, broken. Words, fear in every sound. The coordinates flashed on the big screen. People looked at each other. Laura stepped closer to the map. She zoomed in. That's deep in swarm territory, civilian. Convoy, refugees running from the bugs. Daniel leaned forward, engines failing. Life support critical, they don't have long. A commander at the back spoke up. Concordance won't send help, they never do. Too risky. Laura turned. Then we decide. She looked around the room. No one argued. Humans did not wait for permission when lives hung in the balance. Not anymore, get me. Fleet command, she said. The call went through fast. Holograms appeared, admirals in crisp uniforms. Listened, Laura explained, short, clear. No emotion, just facts. One admiral asked, you want to send 5 battle groups? Yes, Laura said. Carriers, dreadnoughts, escorts, marine transports, full loadout. Another admiral frowned. The concordance may complain, we have no treaty obligation. Daniel spoke then, quiet but firm. They sent an SOS, open channel, anyone who hears, that includes us. The admirals looked at each other. One nodded slowly, approved. The lead admiral said, mobilize immediately. Jump point at Jupiter in 36 hours. Rules of engagement, protect the convoy. Destroy swarm assets on site. Bring our people home safe. The holograms vanished. Laura turned to the room. You heard it. Start preps. Every ship, every crew, we move fast. People stood, chairs scraped, voices rose, orders flew. Daniel stayed near Laura. You think the swarm will back off when they see us? Laura gave a small, hard smile. But they'll learn. Outside the base, alarms sounded across New Denver. Not panic alarms, ready alarms. Ship crews ran to shuttles. Families waved from windows. Kids cheered. Humans knew what this meant. Another fight, another chance to show the galaxy who they were. In the shipyards above Mars, giant cranes moved. Welders sparked munitions loaded in long lines. Carriers the size of small cities woke up. Engines hummed. Lights came on in rows. The flagship waited. UEN Endurance. Long gray, covered in gun ports in launch bays. Commander Kevin Morale stood on her bridge. He watched screens show the fleet gathering. His hands rested on the rail, steady. Beside him, Executive Officer Megan Carter checked lists. All groups report ready. Jump in 34 hours. Kevin nodded. Good, send a message to the convoy if you can punch through. Tell them help is coming. Megan hesitated. They may not believe it. Not from us. Kevin looked out at the stars. They will when they see the fleet drop out of jump. On the refugee ships far away, hope was thin. Inside the biggest transport, Dawn's Mercy, aliens sat in dark corridors. Lights flickered, air tasted bad. A Vexari engineer named Lurvox held a small screen. The SOS still looped, no answer yet. A Lion mother held her child close. Will anyone come? Lurvox did not know what to say. Then a new signal broke through static. Human voice, calm, clear. This is United Earth Navy, we received your distress call. Relief force en route. Hold position if possible. Help is coming. The words repeated. Lurvox stared. Humans. The mother looked up. The death worlders, some felt hope, some felt fear. Everyone knew stories about humans. Strong, stubborn. They came from a planet that tried to kill them every day. Gravity that crushed, storms that tore. Animals that hunted, yet they survived. They grew, they built ships, they fought. Now those same humans flew toward the sworn. Lurvox whispered to himself, they are coming. In the void, the human fleet gathered. Engines glowed blue, jump drives charred. With a deep hum. 27 capital ships, 80 escorts, thousands of fighters ready in bays, Marines checked weapons, pilots ran final tests. No speeches, no big words, just movement. They jumped, one by one. The ships vanished into bright flashes, gone from human space, headed straight for the dark where machines ate worlds. Galaxy waited, and somewhere a desperate convoy listened for engines they never thought would answer. The human fleet started to come together fast, no waiting, no long talks, just work. Above Mars, the big shipyards looked like a forest of metal arms and bright lights. Cranes moved slow and heavy. They lifted huge boxes of missiles and armor plates. Workers in suits ran across walkways, sparks flew from welders, engines tested with deep booms that shook the thin air. In the main yard, the UEN Endurance sat like a sleeping giant. Long gray hull, rows of gun turrets. Launch bays big enough to hold small towns. Her engines were cold now, but soon they would burn blue and hot. Commander Kevin Morales walked the bridge. He was not tall, but he moved sure. Short black hair, strong shoulders from years on heavy worlds. He looked at the main screen. It showed dots every ship. In the fleet, green meant ready, yellow meant almost ready, red meant problem. Most dots were green. Executive Officer Megan Carter stood next to him. She had red hair tied back, tight eyes sharp. She held a tablet. Numbers and lists scrolled fast. Carrier Group 1 reports full munitions, she said. Group 2 needs 6 more hours for fighter reloads. Troop transports are loaded. Marines are aboard. Kevin nodded. Good, tell Group 2 to push. We jump in 29 hours. No delays. Megan sent the order. Then she looked at him. You think the aliens will wait that long? Kevin stared at the star map. Convoy's position blinked red, far away. Too far. They have to. We're the only ones coming. Outside the bridge windows, space looked black and empty. But it was not empty. Shuttles flew back and forth. Supply ships docked. Fighters tested their thrusters in short bursts. The whole system felt alive, busy, angry. Down on New Denver, people watched from the ground. Families stood in parks. Kids pointed at the sky. Bright streaks showed shuttles climbing to orbit. Mothers held babies close. Fathers checked messages on small screens. Everyone knew what this meant. Another fleet leaving, another fight. One old man sat on a bench. He had gray hair and scars on his hands. He spoke to no one. Deathworlders, he said, that's what they call us. Good, let them remember. Why? Back in orbit, the jump point near Jupiter waited. A big ring of stations marked the spot. Blue energy fields hummed. Ships gathered there in lines. Carriers first, then dreadnoughts. Escorts around them like guard dogs. 27 big ships, 80 smaller ones, hundreds of fighters inside, thousands of Marines, all moving as one. Kevin walked to his ready room. Small space, metal desk, one chair. A photo on the wall showed his family. Back on Earth, wife, 2 kids. He looked at it for a second, then he turned away. No time for soft thoughts. Now, he sat and opened a channel to the other. Commanders' holograms appeared, faces of men and women he trusted. Captain Laura Bennett was there, her face calm. Endurance group is set. We lead the first wave. Commander Daniel Hayes from the Destroyer Vanguard nodded. My group will cover the flanks, fast. Strikes if the swarm shows early. Others spoke, short words, clear plans. No jokes, no fear, just ready. When the call ended, Kevin leaned back. He felt the ship around him, the hum of power, the quiet voices of crew. This was home, this was family. Megan came in, jump coordinates locked. Hyperspace path is clear, no anomalies. Kevin stood. Then let's move. The fleet jumped in waves, big flashes of light gone. Then the dreadnoughts, more flashes. The escorts followed, one group after. Another like stones skipping across. Water. But instead of water, it was space. Instead of stones, it was steel and fire. The last ships jumped, silence returned to Jupiter's orbit. Only the ring station stayed, quiet now, waiting for the fleet to come back, if they came back. Word traveled fast through alien channels. On the Lyran station near the neutron star, Zethkal watched his screens. Reports came in. Human ships mobilizing, human jump. Signatures detected, many of them. A Vexari officer clicked his legs. They are really coming. 5 battle groups, that is a lot. Zethkal touched the screen. Humans do not do things small. Another crew member spoke, some in the Concordance are worried, they say death. Worlders are dangerous, unpredictable. Zethkal turned. Dangerous to who? The swarm. Good, let them be dangerous. In a quiet diplomatic hall on a neutral world, alien ambassadors talked in low voices. Kateri with smooth blue skin, Zorath with many eyes, they argued. The humans move without asking, one said. They answered the SOS, another answered. Still they fight like animals. Then maybe we need animals now. The talk went on, no one stopped the humans, no one dared. Far out in the dark, on the refugee convoy, hope started to grow. Inside Dawn's Mercy, the lights were still dim. Air recyclers coughed, people sat close together. A Lyran child asked his mother, "Are the humans big?" The mother stroked his head. "Yes, and strong." Lurvox, the Vexari engineer, worked on a broken panel. His crystal fingers moved fast. He listened to the human message loop. Again. This is United Earth Navy, Relief Force. En route. Hold if you can, we are coming. He stopped working for a second. They said we are coming. Not we might come, not if we can. Just coming. A human voice broke in again. This time stronger. Convoy Epsilon 9, this is UEN. Endurance, DTA 48 hours standard, we see. Your position, hang on. The aliens looked up, some smiled, some cried quiet tears. Lurvox whispered 48 hours, we can last that, but the swarm did not wait. Outside the asteroid field, black shapes moved, scout drones. Small, fast, they watched the limping transports, they sent signals back to the hive minds. More ships turned, more drones woke up. The swarm smelled weakness, it smelled food. On one refugee ship, sensors beeped. Warning lights flashed, more contacts. A voice said, "Swarm scouts closing." Panic started, people held each other. Children cried, Lurvox ran to the bridge, the captain, an old lion. "Look tired, we have no weapons left. Shields at 10%. Then the human voice came again, calm. "Steady, convoy, this is endurance, we. Red swarm activity, do not engage. Conserve power, we will handle them." Aliens stared at the speakers. How? Someone asked. No answer came, but far away in hyperspace, the human fleet moved faster than light, engines pushed hard, crews checked weapons one more time, pilots sat in cockpits, Marines loaded rifles. Kevin stood on the bridge. Again. The jump timer counted down. 30 minutes. Megan looked at him. "First contact soon, scouts will see us. Drop out." Kevin gave a small smile. "Let them see." He pressed a button, his voice went to every ship. "All hands, this is Commander Morales, we. Jump in 30, when we arrive we form sphere around the convoy. Carriers launch fighters, dreadnoughts. Take point, escorts screen, Marines. Ready for boarding if needed. We do not leave until every refugee is safe, understood." Voices answered from every ship. One word loud, clear, understood. The timer hit 0, space flashed white. The fleet dropped into real space. The convoy, stars snapped back. Engines roared, guns powered up. The swarm scouts saw them first, small. Black spheres turned, sensors burned. Bright, they sent alarms to the hive. The humans had arrived, the human fleet. Dropped out of hyperspace in a burst of white light. 27 big ships appeared all at once, their engines flared blue. Point defense guns spun up, fighters poured from the carriers like angry bees. The void lit up with sudden activity. The refugee convoy floated ahead. 12 large transports looked small and broken. Hulls were black from laser burns. Some ships leaked air in thin white streams. Lights flickered weak. Swarm scouts, small black spheres, darted around them like flies on a dead animal. The scouts saw the humans, their sensors flashed. They sent sharp signals back to the hive. More black shapes turned in the distance. The swarm woke up. On the bridge of the UEN Endurance, Commander Kevin Morales stood with hands behind his back. The main screen showed everything, red dots for swarm, green for the convoy, blue for his own ships. "Form the sphere," Kevin said, calm voice. "Carriers in the center with the refugees, dreadnoughts take point. Escorts on the edges, fighters screen. Everything." Megan Carter repeated the orders. Voices answered from other bridges. Ships moved fast. They slid into place. A wall of steel and guns formed around the battered alien ships. Captain Laura Bennett watched from her own carrier, the UEN Resolve. She leaned forward. "Launch all fighters, priority. Clear the scouts." Wings of fighters shot out. Human pilots pushed throttles hard. They flew straight at the black spheres. Lasers flashed, missiles streaked. The first scouts popped like bubbles. Bits of black metal spun away. Inside the Dawn's Mercy, the biggest refugee ship, aliens pressed against viewport. They saw the human ships arrive, huge gray covered in weapons. Engines roared loud even through vacuum. Lurvox stood near a cracked window. His crystal body caught the flashes of battle. "They came," he said. "They really came." A lion child pulled at his mother's hand. "Look, they are shooting the bad machines." The mother held him tight. Yes, stay quiet now. On the bridge of Dawn's Mercy, the old Lion captain stared at his screen. Human ships docked fast, big clamps. Locked on, air bridges extended, Marines in heavy armor came through. Sergeant Brian Ellis led the first team. Tall man, broad shoulders, helmet visor. Down, rifle ready, his squad moved. Quick! They sealed the airlock, checked for leaks, then opened the inner door. Aliens waited in the corridor, thin. Lion's crystal Vixari, some sat on the floor, others stood shaking, a few held small weapons, old pistols broken. Tools, they looked scared. Brian raised one hand, palm out. Easy. United Earth Navy, we're here to help. His translator spoke the words in trade. Speak soft, clear. A Vixari stepped forward. Lurvox, you are humans. Brian nodded once. That's right, we got your message, let's get you out. He turned to his team. Medics up, start. Triage, move the wounded first, everyone else to the transports. The Marines worked fast, they carried stretchers, helped the old and the young. One Marine knelt by a Lion girl with a burned arm. Hey kid, this will sting a little. He sprayed a white foam, it sealed the burn. The girl stopped crying. Lurvox watched. These Deathworlders moved like machines, but their hands were gentle when they needed to be. Their faces showed scars, old cuts, broken noses, marks from fights on their hard world. Outside, the battle grew louder. A swarm frigate pushed through the asteroid field, long black legs like knives. It fired beams of green light. One hit an escort ship, shields flared. The human ship answered with rail guns. Solid slugs punched through the frigate's shell, sparks flew. The alien ship broke in half. On the Endurance, Kevin watched the screen. Good hit. Vanguard, finish it. Commander Daniel Hayes on the Vanguard grinned under his helmet. Copy that. His destroyer turned sharp. Torpedoes launched. Fusion warheads bloomed white. The swarm frigate vanished in fire. More scouts came, hundreds now. They swarmed the fighters. Human pilots twisted and rolled. Lasers cut through black metal. One fighter took a hit, it spun. The pilot ejected. A rescue shuttle raced out to grab him. Laura Bennett spoke over the fleet channel. Keep the pressure on, do not let them close on the transports. Marines kept moving people, thousands at a time. Human transports docked, opened bays. Aliens walked or were carried inside. Some looked back at their broken ships, tears in their eyes, but they kept moving. One old Vixari stopped Brian. Why do you do this? We are not your people. Brian looked at him. Because you asked for help, that's enough. The old Vixari touched Brian's armored arm. You fight like nothing we know. Brian gave a small smile. We grew up on a death world. Everything tried to kill us. We got good at fighting back. More swarm ships arrived, bigger ones. Hive carriers. They looked like rocks with holes. From the holes came more drones, thousands. Kevin saw them on the screen. All ships' priority targets are the carriers. Take them down fast. Dreadnoughts moved forward, big guns roared. Rail guns sent slugs at high speed. They cracked open the hive. Carriers inside the swarm mines screamed in silent signals. Fighters flew into the holes, dropped bombs. Explosions bloomed deep inside. One carrier split open, black pieces floated away. But the swarm fought hard. A group of drones slipped past the screen. They hit one transport. The human ship shook. Alarm screamed, crew sealed sections. Kept flying. On the Dawn's mercy, the last aliens. Boarded. Lervatz looked around, empty corridors. Now his home ship felt dead. Brian put a hand on his shoulder. Time. To go, they ran to the air bridge. It closed behind them. The transport pulled. Away, engines burned. It joined the other loaded ships inside the human sphere. Laura watched the last docking. Convoy. Secure, all refugees aboard. Kevin nodded. Good, now we finish this. He looked at the growing swarm fleet. More ships every minute. The hive minds had noticed the new threat. They sent everything. Megan spoke quiet. They are coming for us now. Kevin's voice stayed calm. Then let them come. He opened the fleet channel again. All ships hold the line. We protect the convoy. We do not run. Fight smart. Fight hard. Bring everyone home. Voices answered loud, sure. The battle turned. Humans did not wait. They pushed. Fighters flew deep into drone clouds. Marines boarded a damaged hive ship. They planted charges. Ran back. The ship cracked open like an egg. Aliens on the transports watched. They saw humans laugh in their cockpits. Saw them cheer when a swarm ship died. Saw them bleed but keep fighting. One lion whispered, they enjoy this. Another answered, no, they just do not fear it. But the humans held. Every minute, more refugees got safe. Every minute, the convoy moved away from danger. On the Endurance Bridge, Kevin looked at the stars. We are not done yet. But we started. Megan smiled small. They will remember this day. Outside, the void burned with light and fire. Deathworlders had answered the call, and the swarm learned what that meant. The swarm did not stop coming. More ships appeared at the edge of the asteroid field, first dozens, then hundreds, then thousands. Black shapes filled the sensors like a dark cloud. Hive carriers moved slow but steady. From their holes poured more drones. Endless, hungry. On the bridge of the UEN Endurance, Commander Kevin Morales watched the red dots multiply. The screen looked crowded now. Too many. Megan Carter stood beside him. Her face stayed calm. They shifted focus. The whole local hive is turning toward us. Kevin nodded once. Good, means the convoy is clear to pull back. He opened the fleet channel. All ships. Convoy transports fall back to jump. Point Delta, slow and steady. Use the sphere as shield. We hold here. Voices answered fast. Copy, understood. Holding line. The refugee ship started moving. Human escort stayed close. They fired short bursts to keep drones away. The big transports crawled through space. Engines glowed weak but steady. Inside one transport, Lervatz sat near a viewport. He watched the human ships fight. Flashes lit his crystal skin. They are not running, he said quiet. A lion beside him shook his head. No. They push forward. Outside, the battle changed. A large swarm hive carrier pushed close, bigger than any human dreadnought. Its surface moved like living skin. Holes opened. Green beams lashed out. One hit the side of a carrier. Shields burned bright orange. The human ship shook but did not break. Captain Laura Bennett on the UEM Resolve spoke sharp. Damage report. Shield at 40%. Hull breach on deck 7. Sealed. Laura looked at her tactical screen. Target that carrier. All forward. Batteries. The Resolve turned. Big rail guns charged with a deep hum. Fast, silent. They punched into the hive carrier. Holes appeared, black fluid leaked. Swarm ship answered with more beams. Kevin saw it, Vanguard group flank. Them. Commander Daniel Hayes on the destroyer. Vanguard answered quick. On it. His small group broke from the line. They moved fast, dodged drone swarms. Got close to the hive carrier's side. Torpedoes launched, fusion explosions. Bloomed along the hull. The carrier listed, one side cracked. Open. But more came, another hive carrier. Arrived then another. The swarm minds thought as one, they saw. Humans as new food. They sent everything. Marines from the troop transports. Launched boarding pods, small black. Cylinders shot toward a damaged hive. Ship they hit cut in, teams poured. Out, Sergeant Brian Ellis led one squad. They moved through dark tunnels, lights. From helmets cut the black, walls pulsed. Like meat, drones crawled everywhere. Small, fast, sharp legs, Brian fired his. Rifle, bursts of bright rounds tore. Drones apart, push forward, find they. Core. His team followed, they shot, they threw. Grenades, explosions shook the ship. Black Ipper sprayed, one Marine took a hit, leg cut deep, he kept firing from. The floor go, I got this, they reached. The core chamber, big round room. Glowing red heart beat in the center. Tubes fed it, Brian planted charges, set. Timer back out, now they ran. Drones. Chased, Brian turned, fired full auto. Covered his team, the last Marine. Dragged the wounded one, they reached. The pod door closed, pod shot away. Behind them the hive ship bloomed. White broke apart, pieces spun slow. On the Endurance, Megan smiled small. Boarding successful, one less carrier. Kevin did not smile, they keep coming. We need to hurt them bad. He looked at the screen, the convoy was halfway to the jump point, safe for now. But the swarm pressed harder. Drones slipped through gaps, hit. Escorts, one small human ship exploded. In silence, fire bloomed then died. Laura's voice came over comms, we lost. The Harper crew status unknown. Kevin's jaw tightened, rescue shuttles. Out now, shuttles launched, search. Debris found, escape pods brought. Survivors back. But the fight grew. Worse, a massive swarm super hive appeared at the far edge, biggest yet. Size of a small moon, legs like towers. Holes big enough to swallow ships, it moved slow, but every move sent waves of drones. Kevin stared, that's the local nexus, if we kill it the rest may break, Megan. Check data, too many escorts, too many drones. Kevin turned, then we draw it in, make it chase us. He opened the channel again, all ships. New plan, we faint, pull the super hive away from the convoy, carriers and transports jump when clear, dreadnoughts and escorts stay, we hit that thing hard. Silence for a second, then answers came. Copy, ready, let's do it. The fleet moved, carriers and loaded transports broke from the sphere, they flew fast toward the jump point, escorts covered them, fired back at drones. The dreadnoughts turned, faced the super hive, guns ready. The swarm noticed. The big nexus shifted, followed the bigger threat. Humans, hold fire until it's in range. The super hive closed, green beams reached out, shields on the Endurance flared, heat warning sounded. Now Kevin said, every dreadnought fired, rail guns, lasers, missiles, torpedoes, a wall of light hit the nexus, holes opened, black fluid poured out, but it kept coming. Daniel Hayes pushed his group forward. Vanguard to all, we're going inside. His destroyers flew straight at a big hole, dodged beams, entered the Nexus. Inside was hell, walls moved, drones. Everywhere they fired everything, bombs. Dropped, explosions chained, one. Destroyer took too many hits. It spun. Crashed into a wall, fire bloomed. Daniel's voice stayed steady. Keep going, plant the big ones. They reached deep, dropped heavy charges, set. Timers ran, pods ejected, flew out just as the Nexus shook, a deep crack ran. Through it, the superhive screamed in. Silent signals broke apart, pieces the size of cities floated away. The smaller swarm ships froze for a second, confused, then they turned. Fled, scattered, the humans did not chase, they held position, watched. The convoy reached the jump point, carriers opened bays, transports jumped one by one, safe. Kevin exhaled slow. All ship status. Reports came in, losses, damage, but the convoy was out. Laura's voice, we did it, refugees. Secure. Kevin looked at the drifting wreckage. Good work, everyone, form up. We jump. Home. Megan put a hand on his shoulder. You. Okay, but we paid for it. On one refugee transport, Learvax looked. Back at the battlefield, flashes faded. Human ships gathered, some hurt, some gone. He spoke quiet. They broke the swarm for us. A Laren beside him whispered. Deathworlders. The words sounded different now, not fear, respect. The human fleet turned. Engines glowed, jump drives hummed, one last look at the dark. Then they jumped, gone. The void grew quiet again. The battle was over. The last pieces of the super hive drifted away in silence. Black chunks floated like broken bones. In the void, no more drones came. No more green beams. The swarm had broken. For the first time in many years, a hive mind felt fear. On the bridge of the UN Endurance, Commander Kevin Morale stood still. His hands rested on the rail. The main screen showed clear space. Only human ships and the refugee transports remained. Red dots were gone. Megan Carter checked the final reports. All convoy ships have jumped. They are safe. Jump signatures confirmed to neutral space. Kevin exhaled slow. Casualty list. Megan read quiet. We lost the Harper and the Vanguards. Sister ship, the Talon. 32 confirmed dead, 112 wounded, most already in med bays. Kevin closed his eyes for a second, then he opened them. Send the names to Fleet Command. Families first. He turned to the fleet channel, his voice stayed steady. All ships, this is Commander Morales. The convoy is safe, the swarm is scattered, good work, form up on the Endurance, we jump home in 30 minutes. Rest if you can, eat if you can, we earned it. Voices answered from every bridge. Tired, proud, some cheered soft, others stayed quiet. Captain Laura Bennett sat in her chair. On the Resolve, she looked at the empty battlefield. We did what no one else would, she said. To her XO. Her XO nodded, and we paid the price. But they lived. In the med bay of the Endurance, Sergeant Brian Ellis sat on a bed. His left arm was in a sling. A cut on his cheek had fresh stitches. A medic checked his vitals. You're lucky, the medic said. Could have been worse, I've had worse. On training runs back home. He looked at the window, stars moved. Slow. The alien saw us fight, that's something. The medic laughed quiet. They'll talk about this for years. Far away on a neutral station, the refugee ships arrived one by one. They docked slow, air bridges connected. Aliens stepped out, some walked, some were carried. Med teams waited with stretchers and warm blankets. Lurvok stepped onto the station floor. His crystal legs clicked soft. He looked around, clean air, bright lights, safe. A Lyran ambassador met him, tall, thin, eyes wide. You are from Dawn's Mercy. Lurvok nodded. Yes, the humans, they came. The ambassador touched his arm. We heard the whole concordance is talking. Lurvok looked back at the docking bay. Human shuttles still flew, bringing the last wounded. They lost people for us. The ambassador stayed quiet for a moment. Deathworlders. The words sounded different now. Not a warning, not a joke, something closer to Days later, delegations arrived at the neutral station. Lyran's, Vexari, Katari. Even some Zarath who rarely left their worlds they wanted to see, to talk to. Understand. Commander Kevin Morales came with a small team. No big ceremony, just uniforms, clean, simple. Zethkel, the Lyran station commander, from the listening post, waited in a meeting room. He bowed deep when Kevin entered. Commander, Zethkel said, you answered when we did not expect anyone to answer. Kevin returned the small bow. We heard the call, that's all. Zethkel looked at him. You lost lives. We knew the risk, we came anyway. The room filled with quiet voices. Aliens spoke in low tones. Some thanked, some asked questions. How did humans fight like that? Why did they not run? What kind of world made being so strong? Kevin answered simple. Our world tried to kill us every day. Storms, cold, heat, animals with teeth. We learned to fight. We learned to help when someone needs it. Laura Bennett stood beside him. She spoke calm. We do not fight for glory, we fight because someone asked. A Katari diplomat stepped forward, tall, blue-skinned. The Concordance fears you sometimes. Your strength, your anger. Kevin looked at him straight. We are not angry, we are ready. There is a difference. The diplomat lowered his head. We see that now. After the talks, Kevin walked to a viewport. Stars looked peaceful. No fire, no black ships. Megan joined him. You think they'll remember? Kevin nodded slow. They will. And next time someone sends an SOS, they'll know who might answer. Back on New Denver, the fleet returned in pieces. Ships landed on big pads. Crews stepped out. Families waited. Hugs, tears, some families quiet, empty chairs at home. Daniel Hayes walked down the ramp of a shuttle. His uniform was torn in places. He saw his wife and son waiting. The boy ran. Daniel caught him, held tight. His wife kissed him. You're home. Daniel smiled, tired. Yeah, home. Word spread across the galaxy fast. Traders talked in ports. Diplomats sent messages. News channels on 100 worlds showed images. Human ships swarm. Wreckage, refugee faces full of thanks. Some called it a miracle. Others called it terrifying. The Deathworlders had broken a swarm. Assault, a thing no one thought possible. In quiet bars on distant stations, aliens raised glasses. To the humans, one said. Others joined. To the ones who came on Earth, old soldiers sat in parks. They watched the news on small screens. One man with gray hair smiled. They still got it, he said. His friend nodded, always did. Months later, a new signal came, not an SOS, a thank you from the survivors of Epsilon 9. They built a small monument. On a safe world, a stone with names. Carved, human names, alien names, side by side. Lervox visited it often. He touched the stone, felt the cuts, remembered the flashes, the voices, the hands that carried him to safety. He whispered thank you. In the dark between stars, ships moved. Again trade routes opened, convoys grew. Bigger, no one feared the swarm as much. Because they knew if trouble came, if a call went out, someone might answer, and that someone wore human colors. The title became more than words. Alien SOS received, Deathworlders fleet. Now on its way, it was not a threat. It was a promise. And the galaxy listened closer whenever humans spoke. Kevin Morales stood on his porch back on New Denver. Red sun set slow. His kids played in the yard. His wife brought him a drink. He looked at the sky. Stars waited. Megan called from the gate. She had come to visit. Thinking about it, she asked. Kevin smiled small. Every day. She sat beside him. Worth it. He looked at his family, then at the stars. Worth it. The night came quiet, but somewhere out there, another convoy moved safe. Because once, when no one else would, the Deathworlders answered. And they would answer again.